Movies, television, books, music, games, comics. Pop culture is one of the things that makes life worth living, and pop culture can be a window into your soul. Welcome to Blew My Mind, a forum for Shrink Tank contributors to share and discuss their own personal, mind-blowing pop culture experiences. I'm your host, Dr. Craig Pohlman. I'm a neurodevelopmental psychologist, Trekkie, and Yoda disciple. I'm joined by two guests, Dr. Rachel Kitson.
Woo!
Rachel is a psychologist, writer, artist, speaker, champion distance runner, and mom to Leo, her baby boy who is so adorable, he defies logic. He really is fantastic. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing good.
Dr. Dave Verhaagen.
What is going on?
Dave is a psychologist, author, speaker, podcaster, Comic-Con panelist, Southeast Psych co-founder, and a man who is both emotionally sturdy and physically brittle.
You forgot that I'm also a roustabout and an underwear model. Those are my two claims to fame.
Oh, that's right.
A roustabout?
Thanks for reminding.
I don't even know really what a roustabout is, but if I could be one, I think I'd like to do that.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although it sounds like you would need to be a little more sturdy physically to be a roustabout, whatever that is. So that might rule me out.
You might need to get the adamantium bones laced.
Yeah, or just bones that didn't snap in half when you tuck in your shirt. You know, that kind of thing.
Just make an example up.
Just as an example. Not that that's ever happened to me before.
Hypothetically. All right. Michael Winter claimed that when it comes to writing, brevity wins. If that's true, then in this discussion, we're all about winning. I've asked Rachel and Dave, two of the best writers I know, to identify 3-word movie lines that blew their minds. I'm actually going to share mine first, which is uttered by one of the best cinematic villains in one of the best thrillers ever.
Is it safe?
So we're talking about Marathon Man, which came out in 1976, and I have to admit, in some ways, this movie is dated, is aged, but in a lot of ways, it is completely timely. And the villain is Zell, who is played by Laurence Olivier. And this takes place, in 70s New York City. And he is a Nazi who's been in hiding. And he comes to New York City to recover what he thinks are some diamonds that are going to be stolen from him, from his safe deposit box. And the character gets caught in the crossfires, played by Dustin Hoffman. Zell and his cronies capture Dustin Hoffman, and they've got him strapped to this chair. And Zell comes in, and he unveils all of this dental equipment, but it looks really menacing. And all he does in the scene, all that Zell says repeatedly is
it safe?
No explanation, no, what is it or whatever.
Yeah, since we moved to Nashville, we started doing Taco Tuesday trivia nights, so pretty fun. And this week, that actually was a question. The question was about Marathon Man. I was the only person in the room that knew the reference to this movie. So it's not a movie that a lot of people have seen these days, but that scene in particular is one of the most uncomfortable, cringeworthy scenes in movies. It is really super duper uncomfortable. It makes you just want to squirm around in your seat. And the fact that he's saying this line and it's so ambiguous and weird and menacing is just so creepy and weird. Great line.
Have you seen this movie, Rachel?
I have not.
It's really fantastic. And what you find out is that Zell was a dentist by training. And in the Nazi concentration camps, one of the things that he would do is pull the gold fillings out of the
bodies,
out of the Jewish victims. So that's why he knows how to use all these dental tools to torture Dustin Hoffman. It's not there's some gore in the movie, but in that scene there's no gore, but it is
implied.
Yes, and the pain that he inflicts on Dustin Hoffman. I think it really taps into everyone's fear of dentistry as well. So, all right, let's shift over to Rachel. What do you have for us?
So my 3-liner is from The Big Lebowski, and the line is,
The dude abides.
The dude abides.
so I love this line because like we've mentioned for some other lines that we've appreciated, it sort of encapsulates this character's sort of worldview. And it's so nonchalant and and I was reading a little bit about it in preparing for this, and apparently it is a biblical reference to, kind of the world will keep spinning. Like, despite all the kind of chaos that might happen, the dude is like the earth. Like, he will be there. He will, kind of go along with whatever is happening. So, it's just a great movie. It's hysterical. It's one of my favorite Coen Brothers movies. John Goodman's awesome. The dude is in every single scene of the entire movie. Just a great film.
Jeff Bridges is great in the movie, and he's had a great career. He's won an Oscar. He's had some tremendous performances, including a great one this year in Hell or High Water. But this is the one role that when people see him on the street, they reference. This is his iconic role, is the dude, and that line really captures it.
I think you're selling his performance in Tron short, Dave.
Which I hated. I hated the performance. I hated the movie.
Oh, you hated Tron?
I hated Tron.
How about Tron Legacy?
Oh.
But I did love The Big Lebowski. I did love True Grit. I loved Hell or High Water and a bunch of other things. So it more than makes up for Tron.
Okay. This is a beloved movie and a beloved character, and just a great line. All right, Dave, give us your 3-word line.
This is a very famous line from a very famous movie, and it is from Forrest Gump. The line is, "Run, Forrest, run!" So in this scene, young Forrest is being bullied, and his only friend, Jenny, tells him to run. These kids are throwing rocks at him. They start to chase him, and she says, "Run, Forrest, run." And he's got braces on his legs, and he starts to scoot along. His legs don't bend hardly, and he's scooting along with these braces, and these kids are on these bikes behind him. They're charging after him, and all of a sudden, he starts to break into full stride, and the braces pop off. They literally shatter and break apart. And it's at that moment that the movie becomes this fable. It's becomes this transcendent experience. And the scene is sad, and it's scary, and it's enraging, but then it becomes exhilarating and even rapturous. It's really a fantastic scene, a fantastic line.
And running is really a motif in that movie. You've got the scene in the back half of the movie when he runs all through the country, and just sort of, he's that character. He's sort of running through American history in the 21st century.
Yeah,
and I'm a little bit
20th
younger,
century.
but my friends who are baby boomers, I've had a number of friends who have said that this movie, just for parts of it that they couldn't even explain, just moved them to tears. And I've heard that more than once. And I think it's because people that lived through Vietnam and that era, the civil rights movement, as young adults, this evokes all that. And the running is sort of running through all these scenes and these moments. And so it really is, the running piece is really the thread that kind of connects you to all these key pieces in American history.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I love Tom Hanks. I would watch anything that Tom Hanks is in. And, as a runner, when this movie came out, I can't tell you the number of times I've had that shouted at me and during
Really?
that time period. Yes.
Run, Rachel, run.
Run, Forrest, run.
Well, I will tell you also just a little sidebar about the movie itself. You know how sometimes when people discuss movies, things have to get very polarized. And this is a movie that came out in the same year that Pulp Fiction came out.
That's right.
And those two were both nominated for Best Picture. And it seems like the argument has become, you either have to think Pulp Fiction should have won and Forrest Gump is terrible, or Forrest Gump should have won and Pulp Fiction was so-so. And it's like, they're both great movies. And so I would say to the people that are Pulp Fiction fans, of which I'm one of them, that you can also love Forrest Gump too. It's a great movie.
Thanks,
and
Dave.
You can still love the movie.
That's a good PSA.
Yes.
And let's wrap things up on that note. Thanks a lot. That is all we have time for. Our superb audio engineer and editor is Sean Beck. He makes our podcast go snap, crackle, pop. Thanks to my guest, Dr. Rachel Kitson. and Dr. Dave Verhaagen. We all write 3-word or longer articles for Shrink Tank. Be sure to check out all the content, including videos, quizzes, and surveys on our website. Shrinktank.com is the place for all of your psychology and pop culture needs. Until next time, I'm Craig Pohlman, and this is Blew My Mind.
Shrinktank.com